A few months ago, I quit my corporate job after 12 years to go off and build something of my own, and now I'm just figuring out what to do next. I spent the last 12 years climbing the corporate ladder, working for big organisations here in the UK, such as Lloyds Banking Group, IBM and Vodafone. Predominantly, I was a project manager for the majority of my career. Towards the back end of last year, I progressed to manage a team. I was managing 10 to 20 people, which were all project managers. So worked my way up to a decent position and a decent kind of paid salary for my age. I was working remotely the majority of the time, so I was at home, which meant that I could, go to the gym before, kind of on my lunch or after work as well. So kind of on paper, it looked as if everything was working out and that I was on a good trajectory to just keep progressing in my career. But there was something deep down which just told me, this isn't what I want to do for the rest of my life, working for somebody else, being put under pressure, delivering things that I just wasn't really interested in, really. I've always had something, as long as I can remember really, in terms of when I started my 9 to 5 working career, something on the side to try and generate some extra income. So I think I started off doing a little bit of Amazon FBA. So I was selling posture correctors with my own branding on it, which was successful for kind of a limited amount of time. I was buying and selling clothes. I was shipping clothes over from China and tried selling them on like Vinted and Depop. So I've had a couple of things on the side which I've always tried to do to generate that extra income, as I said. But again, stuff that I didn't really have a passion for. That was until about 2 years ago, where I founded my second company, Nova Caddy, where I'm developing a product to support people with diabetes. Now, this is something which I'm hugely passionate about, something that I have the drive for, because I was actually diagnosed myself 6 years ago now. I was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes. My sister's also diabetic as well, so it runs kind of in the family a little bit. So that kind of is something which spurs me on to go and create a product which could not only help me and my sister, but help millions and millions of people out there in the UK and across the world who suffer from this chronic condition. Now, that passion that I have for the business led me to take the biggest risk that I've took in my life really at the beginning of this year, and decided to walk away from a 9 to 5 job, that career that I've been trying to build over the last 2 years really. And it is a big risk, not only because I feel as if I'm throwing away my career a little bit, but also from a financial perspective, my business isn't generating any income. The product is still very early stage development. So going full-time focus on that whilst not having any income coming in is essentially a huge risk. Now, something that was going alongside that risk, and something which I was hugely optimistic for, was a big grant that I applied for back in December, just before I quit my 9 to 5 job. So over the last kind of 12 to 18 months, I've managed to obtain some grant funding from a local council to support the early stage development of my business. And with that kind of evidence, and I've got to a point where I've got that early prototype, and now I need that big jump, that next stage, that big injection of funding, I guess, to go full on in the product development. And it's going to cost a good couple of $100,000. So I applied for a big grant, and it was going to take 4 months to hear back from the grant funding decision. So I applied for it at the beginning of December, and I was due to hear back at the beginning of this month. Now, that would have allowed me to take a salary out of the business. However, unfortunately, I had an email a couple of days back to say that the grant was unsuccessful. So now I'm kind of back to square one, a little bit in limbo in terms of, what do I want to do? What move is next? So there are another couple of grants which are on the horizon, which I've started to apply for, which will take a couple of weeks. And I think the grant funding decision is a little bit faster than the last one, maybe 2 months rather than the 4 months. And I'm also seeking other opportunities in terms of private investment as well. And when I quit my 9 to 5 job, I also went to Travel Asia for a couple of months as well. So I was doing a little bit of work on my business on the side whilst I was out there. But essentially, the money that I had from a 9 to 5, that's not going to last forever. I haven't got the money for the grant. So it's like, what do I do now? Do I go and get another job? Do I dive back into the corporate world? Do I go contracting and just get kind of a 3-6 month contracting job while still trying to build my business? Or do I just try and go full on the business full time, which, you know, obviously is a big risk, and I'm going to need some cash eventually. So whilst I was in Asia, I started to do a little bit of filming when I was in Cambodia and Vietnam. Just kind of a little bit of a travel vlog, if I guess, so you can kind of watch the videos on my channel. One kind of outcome from that is that I do actually enjoy filming, and I'm really enjoying like the editing of the videos and stuff like that. It's learning a new skill as well for me, and I think just getting confidence in front of the camera and kind of building that personal brand is going to be important for me anyway when my business progresses. So it's almost like, why wouldn't I try and do that now to support me in the future a little bit? So I'm going to be making a lot more kind of videos around my lifestyle and what's next, around my diabetes. Just started getting into a new hobby, playing paddle. So I'm hopefully going to be doing a bit of filming around that. So yeah, I guess kind of transitioning from that travel vlog, if you like, going kind of more niche and speaking about my diabetes a little bit more, and just kind of letting people into what it's like living with diabetes and going and playing sport with diabetes and what kind of foods that I need to eat with diabetes and stuff like that. So that's what I'm going to be kind of generating moving forward. Obviously still trying to build my business on the side as well. So when there are any updates, then I'm going to be talking about them and posting videos on that as well moving forward. So I'm far from having everything figured out, as you can probably tell. I honestly don't know what my next move's going to be really, but yeah, just want to document this journey along the way. So, you know, if you want to follow the journey, then would appreciate if you like the video and subscribe to the channel. I'm going to be releasing maybe 2 to 3 YouTube videos per week. So come along on the journey, and yeah, let's just see where it goes.